Castle is in unacceptable condition!
Welcome back to Director's Choice. Lemongrab is a minor character in Adventure Time, but every time he shows up, it's a major event. He's far from your typical Adventure Time villain. Like the other villains in the show, he has mental issues that the human mind cannot even begin to fathom, which is what makes him such a great subject to analyze. Today, we'll be breaking down the psychology of the Earl of Lemongrab. Adventure Time has produced many insane bad guys, from villains without purpose like Magic Man to villains who were once good like the Ice King, and villains who were created for a far greater purpose like Lemongrab. Lemongrab was initially created by Princess Bubblegum to rule the Candy Kingdom after her. He isn't the only possible heir that Bubblegum has created in her attempt to secure ruler for the Candy People if anything ever happened to her. Bubblegum seems to have poor luck when it comes to creating heirs, since in both cases the heirs she created ran wild. She's better at creating simple creatures like the people of the Candy Kingdom. Whenever she tries to create someone with advanced intelligence, or at least enough intelligence to rule the Candy Kingdom, it always goes wrong. Lemongrab was the first experiment to go wrong. The second heir experiment that didn't go according to plan was Goliad, but that's a story for another video. This video is a full breakdown of the first heir gone wrong, the Earl of Lemongrab. So without further ado, let's get right into it. His personality. Lemongrab has been described in many ways, few of which have been pleasant. This crazy lemon-headed weirdo has a personality that is just as sour as his name. Lemongrab is uninviting, strange, and insensitive.
If you don't know anything about the Earl of Lemongrab, I find that to be
Unacceptable!
He is completely oblivious to obvious social cues and struggles to recognize and acknowledge the feelings of other people. He manages to be both insensitive and overly sensitive at the same time. While he is insensitive toward the plights of others, he remains overly sensitive in situations that directly affect him. He also gets easily offended, which typically leads to strange bouts of anger. Lemongrab has a sour disposition that makes him off-putting and uncomfortable to be around. His constant state of melancholy is another personality trait that adds to the Earl's uninviting nature. He seems to prefer bitterness, and despite Bubblegum's efforts to make him a better person, he remains the same. Lemongrab is determined to stay miserable, and he takes pleasure in spreading his misery. He's his own never-ending source of unhappiness, which only adds to the complexity of his character. He has a destructive personality that makes him a danger to anyone around him, but mostly to himself. His strange behavior affects him more than it affects anyone else. He has also been described as mentally dysfunctional, but even that does not fully describe the enigma that is the Earl of Lemongrab. Lemongrab was initially presented as a villain, but he is not inherently evil. He was created to rule the people of the Candy Kingdom. Sadly, his lack of real-life experience makes him a bit of a loose cannon. He tends to treat people poorly for no obvious reason, and it could be said that he isn't truly aware of the consequences of his actions. Lemongrab cannot fully understand his own emotions, let alone the emotions of those around him. Because of this, he's not aware of how his actions affect people. Despite Lemongrab's destructive nature and inability to act normally, he is capable of loving deeply. The downside is that his love is just as destructive as him. Those who receive his love might end up wishing they hadn't. Everything Lemongrab does seems to come from a place of unexplained anger. His actions are not motivated by hatred towards anyone in particular, but rather by uncontrolled rage. He lacks social skills and tends to react unfavorably to situations in a childlike manner.
Bye!
This might be due to his lack of experience in a social environment. He was never taught how to behave around other people or how to tolerate difficult situations. Lemongrab is high-strung and does not take corrections easily. He believes he's right about everything, and he prefers to live in a society where everyone has fully submitted to him and agrees with him whatever he says. His need to be right prevents him from taking responsibility for his mistakes, because to him, he can't make any mistakes. When Lemongrab is faced with the consequences of his actions, he is quick to blame the situation on someone else. Lemongrab is also known for his short temper, and he exercises this temper on anyone who dares to contradict him. People who go against him are typically sent to prison for actions as simple as disagreeing with him or pranking him.
A million years dungeon!
When Finn and Bubblegum pranked him, he didn't bother to find out who did it. He just snapped and imprisoned all the candy people around him. Anyone who even remotely disagrees with the Earl is sentenced to life in prison. When candy people are put under Lemongrab's rule, he imposes strict laws and severely punishes anyone who does not obey him. His social life. As I mentioned earlier, Lemongrab has poor social skills. In fact, poor is putting it lightly. His social skills are non-existent, and his personality acts as a repellent to other people. No one wants to be around him because he does not know how to act around other people. He can't keep up a normal conversation, and hardly even smiles. Those who have the misfortune of engaging with him are usually worse off for it. Lemongrab doesn't see anything wrong in the way he treats people. He punishes those who break his absurd and rigid rules while tolerating those who do. His relationships. Lemongrab has a complicated relationship with everyone, but most of all with Princess Bubblegum,
Wait!
who is technically his mother. They have no blood connection and are only bonded by the fact that she made him in her lab. Still, she's the only mother he has ever known, even though Lemongrab doesn't always treat her as his mother. He typically refers to Bubblegum as his glob. Princess Bubblegum disapproves of Lemongrab's style of ruling, which usually causes friction in their relationship. The second strong relationship Lemongrab had was with a clone of himself, but even that ended poorly. When Lemongrab first met Lemongrab 2, he seemed to actually like him. Lemongrab 2 balanced the original Lemongrab out and helped him make better choices. Sadly, it all went downhill when the two Lemongrabs disagreed on how to rule their people. At first, the original Lemongrab ate half of the second Lemongrab, and later he swallowed his brother whole. His morality. As someone who fails to see any fault in what he does, Lemongrab lacks a basic moral compass. His definition of right and wrong is far from normal. In his eyes, everything he does is right, and anyone who doesn't agree is wrong. He usually becomes a tyrant whenever he is given people to rule over. Lemongrab treats his subjects like slaves and never bothers to ask how they're doing. He is overly conscious of his status as a noble and treats those who aren't like they are worthless. Lemongrab doesn't take kindly to corrections, so he has no opportunity to grow and become a better person. He is also not above stealing power when the opportunity presents itself. When Bubblegum was de-aged, he took advantage of the situation to usurp the throne of the Candy Kingdom. But after the princess became 18 again, she sent him back to Lemongrab. Conclusion. Lemongrab is a complex yet incredibly simple character. He is narrow-minded, and his backward beliefs dictate everything that he does. He loves being in control, and he reacts badly when everything does not go the way he wants. Like most Bubblegum's creations, he has a childlike personality in a grown person's body. Do you think I nailed this personality evaluation? Be sure to let me know what you think in the comment section below. Check out this recent clip by Director's Choice, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that bell so you don't miss any of our videos.